You're listening to the Quarter Hour with Wade Kingsley, but don't worry, he hasn't gone anywhere. My name is Max and I'm from the Biz Audio Podcast. Let's get right into it. We've got a busy show chatting all about your 15 minutes in radio.
Brilliant, thank you, and good luck with your new pod. Now, I know you've probably been to Disneyland, or you may have been to Graceland, but today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to Cridland. James Cridland is the editor and creator of PodNews, and he's also very much the scribe behind a brand newish newsletter called Radioland. And James joins us now. G'day, James.
Greetings. How are you?
Very well. How's things in Cridland?
Yeah, absolutely lovely. Absolutely lovely. I should correct you slightly.
Oh, here we go.
I've been writing a radio newsletter for probably 15 years, if not longer. But it's got a new name.
Aha.
And the new name is all your fault.
So, I know, because yes. I tried to give you a plug once and I couldn't remember what to say.
Correct.
So we called it Radioland. Very good. Excellent. Yeah. Hey, reading PodNews as I do every week, and it's also available as a podcast, which I don't know if a lot of people realise you can listen or read, but I was reading because I'm a bit more of a reader, and this headline grabbed me. And look, James, if I was to say in the parlance of newspapers, to me you're a broadsheet. You've got lots of interesting depth, you cover a lot of subjects, but this is a very tabloid sort of headline of you. And it talked about how that podcasts are leading radio, AM, FM radio, but only in a certain format in a certain country. So please explain.
Well, so this is in the US, where podcasts are probably bigger than anywhere else. And for the first time, podcasts are now bigger than spoken word radio.
Wow.
That's new data from Edison Research. And they came with a graph showing the last 10 years. And just now, podcasts have just beaten spoken word radio. So that's radio stations like, 3AW, ABC Radio Melbourne, and so on and so forth, if you were to move it into this country. So that's a pretty big deal, actually. And it's a particularly big deal because obviously in terms of age range, a lot of young audiences finding spoken word for the first time through podcasts. Really, spoken word radio, talkback radio, is really aimed at a rather older audience. So this is clearly going to have a big change for the future of spoken word audio, which is really interesting.
Really interesting too. And yeah, I think that what I found amazing, because just for those who don't know about the share of ear, it's Americans 13 plus, so it's people over 13. And it asks them about how much time they spend. And they said they spend about 25% of their day spent with audio in general. But this sort of theme that's sort of emerging, and if you look at that bar graph? No, it's a line graph. You can see that AM/FM radio in about 2015 was about 75%, podcasts are about 10%. But flash forward now 10 years, and as you say, it's just pipped it. We've got podcasts at 40% and AM/FM at 39%. I'm wondering, in the American context, how important talk radio is compared to Australia, where this is just my view. Australian talk radio has a very different flavour to what you'd get in the American talk or spoken word scene.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's quite some similarities there. So if you were to look at ABC Radio National, that's very similar to NPR. And the talkback stations, the 2GBs of this world are very similar to many of the spoken commercial stations that you would hear, the talk radio stations in the US. So I think that there's probably quite a lot of similarity there, far more so than in the UK, where really there's only one talkback station, at all. So I think that, from that point of view, it's quite similar. But I was curious. So in America, 25% of all audio time is spent with spoken word. So that means that 75% is listening to music. That's not all radio either, by the way. But in terms of spoken word, 25% of all time listening to audio is to spoken word. And I was curious, what does that look like in terms of radio, just in terms of radio in this country? And interestingly, in Melbourne, for example, 26.6% of all 10 pluses are listening to spoken word radio. So that's everything from 3AW, ABC Radio Melbourne, News Radio, and so on. Sydney, a little bit less, 21%. But it's once you get looking at over 65s, that's the big difference. Because, over 65s, I mean, 2GB is massive for over 65. It's got a 25 share.
Wow.
I mean, it's huge. ABC Sydney has an 11 share. So actually half of all radio for over 65s is spoken word. So a big difference in between age groups, but also a big difference in terms of age groups for podcasts, particularly, really here, where we're seeing very few people above the age of 65 listening to podcasts.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I don't know if, podcasting has a perception problem amongst younger audiences. In fact, it's the opposite. It's, if you think about the favorite things that you enjoy consuming as someone, let's just say, I won't say half our age, James, but let's just say, in the vicinity of there, let's not do the maths on that.
Yeah.
But someone under 30, for instance, they would have, in terms of audio listening habits, it's not really of interest to them what it's called. It's interested in what the content is, whether they're watching it on YouTube or listening to it as a podcast, which we'll talk about in a sec, or watching it as a podcast, or just literally downloading it. I think that they probably more attribute the brands and the personalities and the content more than thinking this is a technology that's not for me, whereas the AM/FM divide is a lot bigger, obviously.
Yeah, and I mean, we shouldn't forget that here in Australia, 40% of all radio listening doesn't happen on an AM/FM radio, which is massive. And by the way, the big number there is DAB, which is still bigger than online, which always surprises everybody whenever I say it. So I enjoy,
including me.
So I enjoy saying it. But yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. Actually, podcasting really has a hump between about 25 and 45. That's where the real audience is. If you're younger than 25, then actually podcasting seemingly is much less interesting and popular. I think it's probably a music thing, but probably a time of life thing, as much as anything else. But there's the real hump is between 25 and 45. Once you get up to 65, I think it's just UX. It's just apps. They're complicated to use. It's much easier to turn on the radio. And as we know, radio is very habitual. It's very, we wake up to the same people every single day. Some people wake up to the right people, but that's a side note. So I think that there is a big difference there, but certainly it is fascinating watching how podcasting, particularly for 25 to 45s, is eating away at radio's share and eating away at radio's cume as well.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, now next week you are involved in the Infinite Dial. For those who haven't heard about the Infinite Dial, it's an annual thing, I think, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's the gold standard in terms of US radio listening, US audio listening. It looks at loads of different things, including listening in the car. It does a bit of social media work. It's doing some AI work this year for the first time. And there's the big number, which all of us in the podcast industry are always keen to have a look at, which is how many people are listening to podcasts now. And the Infinite Dial is very good at coming up with that. So that will be overnight on Thursday morning next week, March the 12th. And you can sign up to watch it because you'll be able to watch it on Catch Up afterwards, talking about Catch Up. But it should be really interesting. I haven't seen any of the numbers yet, so I'm looking forward to seeing those. But Megan Lazovic and myself will be, co-presenting that and seeing what the numbers are.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. So that's next Thursday. We'll put a link to it in our show notes if anyone can jump on and have a look. I think it's overnight in Australian time, but in other parts of the world you can watch it live, or if you're in Australia or New Zealand, watch it on Catch Up, of course. Hey, last thing, James, we're going to both be at Radio Days Europe, and we've got this weird thing where they program our sessions against each other. Now, I'm not embarrassed to say that usually I get more people to mine, but what I really wanted to say was, do I get a chance to actually see one of your sessions this time?
Well, I've been told that they just upgraded me.
Oh,
yes. So I was going to be doing my whole Future of Radio session, which is 40 minutes of Hamish and Andy videos. Obviously, that's basically what I'll be showing. So I was going to be showing that session number 3. last thing on the Monday, where nobody would come. But they apparently have moved me to the big room.
Oh, excellent.
Early on the Tuesday. So so I'm now slightly nervous, and I may have to do a little bit more work than just Hamish and Andy. So that should be fun. But no, very much looking forward to that, and also very much looking forward to interviewing Steve Jones. Now, Steve Jones comes from Stingray, a large Canadian broadcaster. They're fascinating because they've just bought TuneIn.
Yeah.
So for the first time, the TuneIn app isn't being owned by, venture capitalists who are just keen to get their money back. It's being owned by a radio company. And that is going to be a really interesting thing to watch over the next couple of years. So Steve Jones, who talks a lot about Canadian content, talks a lot about where he sees radio going, certainly talking about TuneIn is going to be fascinating as well. So really looking forward to doing that too.
Yeah, he's a great talker, Steve, too. You'll get probably about 3 questions in, I think, and then let him go after that. So I'll be seeing you at Radio Days Europe at the end of month. And the other thing, James, I wonder if we could pitch them a joint session, because mine is called Have I Got Your Attention? Talking about ways that brands get attention. Yours is called The Future of Audio is People Powered. If we put them together in like a mega merger, I think we could do The Future of Audio is Pilates Powered. What do you think about that?
Oh, Pilates, yes, Pilates, yes.
We should let people in on the joke there. We both just started Pilates.
Yes. My wife thinks it's a nice thing to do together. It's a nice thing to do together if you want to, point out how humanly frail you are. But yes, it's an entertaining thing. The only good thing about the Pilates place that we go to is it's right next to a coffee place. So we finish the Pilates and then it's straight in for a coffee. And yes, it's no good. But yes, enjoy your Pilates this afternoon.
Well, I will. And my wife has also dobbed me in for it. So clearly there's a Facebook group going where we both are being talked about. That's all I can assume from that.
Yes.
James Cridland, thank you for your time. We'll put the links to PodNews and Radioland, your new name but long-standing newsletter, in the show notes as well. Thanks, James.
Cheers, Wade.
Okay, some quick liner notes, and I'm building out my tech stack. I know that doesn't sound like a big announcement, but it is something important for me because it means I get a chance to interact with you listening to the pod and participating in the pod even more. So I have signed up with Audata. Audata is spelled Audata, Audata. And they are brilliant. Keegs, who started the company with Adrian Bryan a while ago now, are doing some great stuff in that space. And they've run me through the operating system. It's really good. It's one of those things that I think you don't know how good it is till you use it. You might have heard Audata or seen them at a radio conference or seen them mentioned somewhere, but you can run promotions, which I'm going to do. I'm going to be running contests through there, messaging and engagement. And look at this. I've even bought a prop. For those of you looking on YouTube or those who are listening, I've actually got one of those old handheld receivers, and I'm actually going to be taking calls on the pod, believe it or not. So when we do live episodes, you'll be able to drop in a message, and it's all going to be powered by Audata. So thanks, Keegs and the team there. I'm looking forward to using Audata. If you want to become a P1, because that's the only way you're going to be able to get access to all those sort of tools and features that we're using, just go to thequarterhour.com. First month is free, and then $15 a month. And we're having a big discussion in our WhatsApp group at the moment about a certain radio show. I wonder if you could guess who it is. It's Kyle and Jackie O, of course. So we're having lots of good conversations on the daily in our WhatsApp group. It's all at thequarterhour.com. You can join in. Quick couple of shout outs to finish us off of some P1s that have joined. Thank you very much to Mike Frederick in Cincinnati, Dominic Steele in Sydney, Jess Carey, hello Jess, in Melbourne, Callum Jones in New South Wales, and Simon Shivers in Sydney as well. So jump on, become a P1. We're having lots of chats in between the episodes as well. Thursday, very special episode for you. I've got the 2 hosts of the Australian Audio Awards, the inaugural Australian Audio Awards. We've got Bianca Dye and Mitch Churi. And if you think that episode's going to go 15 minutes, you're kidding. That's probably about 45 with a good edit. So that's Bianca and Mitch. They'll be with you on Thursday morning at 10 o'clock. But for now, dear listener, that's been the Quarter Hour.